Okay. Magandang araw sa ating mga listeners. Ako si Matthew, ang inyong host at miyembro ng Group 3. At welcome sa ating episode ng Tinig ng Sining. Ngayong araw, pag-uusapan natin ang mga tagpuan ng sining at ang mga nagpapanahong usapin sa ating lipunan. Noong panahon ni Jose Rizal, Pampanitikan ang naging pangunahing sandata niya upang ilantad ang mga suliranin ng lipunan. Katulad na lang ng mga sikat niyang nobela na Noli Me Tangere at El Filibusterismo. Pero sa kasalukuyan, hindi na lang panitikan ang nagsisilbing boses ng lipunan. Nandiyan na rin ang teatro, pelikula, musika, digital art at ang social media. Para sa episode na to, kasama ko si Miss Tracy Mejia para pag-usapan kung paano nga ba ginagamit ng kabataan ngayon ang sining at media para mailantad ang mga isyung panlipunan sa gitna ng mabilis na mundo ng social media. Welcome to the show, Miss Tracy. Pwede ka bang magpakilala sa ating mga listeners?
Okay, magandang araw sa mga listeners. Ako po si Tracy. Before, graduate po ako ng Ateneo de Manila University. Nag-aral ako ng Diplomacy and International Relations. Pero ngayon, nasa NUS na po ako sa National University of Singapore studying Masters in International Affairs. So noon, nagtatrabaho ako sa Royal Thai Embassy in Manila, pero ngayon nasa UNDP na ako working under climate and sustainability. However, on the other side, nag-research na ako, research assistant ako. I finished some projects on colonial apologies and will be researching the upcoming Philippine elections. In terms of theater, I used to be involved heavily in high school theater and I used to be part of Repertory Philippines. Nung college po ako, nag-direct din ako ng play tungkol sa martial law called Kisap Mata. So yes, it's nice to be on the show.
Okay, welcome. Okay, so maraming salamat sa paglalaan ng oras para sa podcast natin ngayong araw. So, before we start ang ating talakayan tungkol sa sining at media, magkakaroon muna tayo ng isang icebreaker. Wow! Okay. Okay, so today, we're just gonna have a simple fast talk theater edition.
Okay.
So, pipili ka lang ng isang sagot at no need for explanation.
Sige.
Okay, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. First, entablado o camera?
Entablado.
Script or improv?
Improv.
Comedy or drama?
Drama.
Kalmadong eksena o emosyonal na eksena? Wow.
Kalmado.
Kalmado, okay. Solo o group scene?
Solo.
Okay. Monologues, ganun. Okay. Musika o dialogue?
Musika.
Okay. Realistic or symbolic?
Realistic.
Wow, okay. Tahimik na simbolismo o direktang panawagan?
Tahimik na simbolismo.
Pagpapakita ng realidad o paghamon sa realidad?
Pagpapakita.
Okay. So, maraming salamat sa iyong pagsasagot. Asalin ko ay mas nakikilala ka pa ng ating mga tagapagkinig. Okay, so ngayon dumako naman tayo sa ating main agenda. So, simulan natin sa kasaysayan. So, noon, ang mga nobela ni Jose Rizal tulad ng Noli at El Fili ang nagpamulat sa bansa. Pero ngayon, nakikita natin ang mga viral satirical art tulad ng kay Tarantadong Kalbo sa Facebook. So, for you, paano mo nakikitang nagbago ang anyo ng pagpapahayag ng kabataan mula noon hanggang ngayon?
Well, firstly, I'm not that old. So, hindi naman sobrang nag-iba from when I was a kid until now. Pero something that I can talk about, of course, is the difference between traditional media and social media today. So, of course, nung traditional media pa, newspapers, television, the thing with traditional media is it's very one-sided. It's a horizontal flow. Hindi siya parang social media ngayon na you can interact directly with what you see. I recently read this study in terms of the effect of social media and how it has changed. And you can actually see that because of the increase in ability to interact with the media, you're actually able to become more engaged with the media. So it actually is more addicting or it's more compelling for the general audience to take note of it as compared to traditional forms.
So would you say it's like different from before? Let's say before na di pa uso yung mga comments and stuff. So parang was it a place na where you could have activism? Let's say nung parang may Tumblr. Like, do you think
OGs.
the OGs, the addition of like how
Short form media.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the back before, of course, it was still direct. So it's like, let's say it's Tumblr, you still interact with people. Friendster, you still interact with people. The difference is with short form media today, I'd say nag-iba na yung characteristic of media, especially with AI. A lot of it has become advertisement, a lot of it has become tailored towards selling something. So I'd say that's the main difference, but not in terms of the interaction. Interaction still stays the same, but the nature of that interaction has changed.
Gets. But you think, so parang the interaction of it all is what really brought it? Kasi let's say dati, nung time ni Rizal, very, di naman preaching in a sense, pero let's say Rizal wrote his books and then this is the information you have. Do you think, how different is that? Like, in addressing our politics, do you think it's like...
Okay. Nag-iba na rin kasi because now everybody gets a voice. Noon kasi, it's harder to get a seat at the table. It's harder to have a discussion. So, I guess now we can compare that to... You can see that contemporarily din naman in autocracies or stunted democracies. In places where social media is prevalent, there was this study from Annual Review of Economics na nakita nila na social media helps raise awareness and it helps inform voting behaviors. So in terms of its effect on politics, the more rampant social media is, the more able you are to mobilize voters, the more able you are to reduce like political support for ruling parties, particularly in like very stunted democracies.
So it really plays a big role. Okay, interesting. Okay, expert? Okay, so yeah, let's go to the next question. So, makikita rin natin sa social media ang iba't ibang pananaw ng mga tao sa magkakaibang topics at issue dahil sa nature naman talaga ng social media na maging bukas sa lahat. So, sa dami ng content at opinion ng social media ngayon, pakiramdam mo ba ay mas naging malakas ang boses ng mga mag-aaral at mamamayan o mas naging maingay at nakakalito lang ang diskurso ngayon?
Well, syempre ngayon, things are very divided. There's a lot of extremes when it comes to social media. I mean, I think anybody who scrolls Facebook pa lang can see how fractured social media has become. I think yung pinaka-salient na issue in terms of this is probably the 2016 elections, no? Or even the 2022 elections, yung trolls. There was another study that I read up on prior to this called Troops, Trolls, and Troublemakers. So it was done in 2017 on the cyber troops or troll armies in 28 countries. Of course, because of our elections, the Philippines was featured in it. And you could see yung machinery talaga ng mga Duterte. They spent over 10 million pesos just to fund their troll army. So because of that, I'd say that while everybody has an equal voice, because some people have more capital than others, some people end up being louder than others. So it reminds me of that like George Orwell Animal Farm quote, the one that some animals are more equal than others. Na kahit we all have a seat on the table, some voices end up being elevated.
Yeah, it's parang, and even with the trolls, parang it's not something na during 2016 lang. Parang even now, I mean, bakit sila lang? Parang as the impeachment of Sarah is happening, parang medyo updated kasi ako. So like, I watched the live stream.
Okay.
And parang you really see the trolls adding fuel to the fire. Like, instead of it being tungkol sa actual na issue, parang nagpupunta sa bashing of the lawyer. So parang, and even if like you know it's trolls, parang that doesn't mean that it won't have an effect on the regular viewer. Parang you see na, let's say hindi ka updated, you're just watching, and then you see na, oh, bobo ang lawyer, ganun. So syempre, yan lang yung, that's what's gonna stick only to your mind. So, in a way, do you think noise can actually, is noise also political in a way?
I mean, of course it is. Kakaiba na talaga ngayon. Before people found out na you could use social media to fund politics, the internet, I'd say, was a different place. And not to mention, my role din yung mga social media companies in terms of this. Of course, Meta has been criticized already for how little they have done on this. If you read this book, Careless People by Sarah Lynn Williams, you'll see din naman na wala talaga. Even for people who are pushing for this noise to be regulated, for pushing for these fake accounts, because they don't represent what the company wants, right? But even in those cases, money always wins, capital always wins. Na whoever is able to fund that is able to control the narrative. And when you control the narrative, you control the people. So, in some ways, it's that. I won't say it's the most prevalent. Of course, it's just a factor. Hindi naman siya yung only reason why Duterte won, or only reason why politics is influenced.
Right, but it still plays like a big role. Parang,
It plays a
it's
role.
one of the bigger
Yeah.
ones. Okay. So yeah, let's move on to the next. So, kung mapapansin natin, parang napakadali na lang magpahayag ng suporta o pumato sa usaping political online. So, sa tingin mo, sapat na ba ang pagkakaroon ng awareness sa social media? O nagiging dahilan din ito para na maging kontento na lang ang mga tao sa online activism o slacktivism?
In terms of this term, slacktivism, I think we mentioned before na it has a big effect, but in my opinion, it's still unseen kung gaano kalaki talaga yung effect ng social media in terms of invigorating like civic, activity. What I'd say is that what social media does do is engage people who were already predisposed to being interested in politics. So, hindi naman sa it affects people who are not interested, but rather yung mga tao na really had some level of interest have easier access to it and therefore can engage more in political movements, in different political discussions or discourses. So, hindi naman sa slacktivism siya. I've heard this term because it's like, ang daming outs in terms of activism online. Once you enter, let's say, a petition, it's so easy to just go out of it. Once you change your profile picture, it's so easy to just change it back. And that's true naman. But the question here becomes, what are you weighing it against? No? What level of activism was there before that social media has stunted? Hindi naman siya nag-stunt. In my opinion, hindi naman siya nag-stunt. It's more of it just continued the trend of how activism was before, except now it's easier for people to just tune in and then tune out.
Gets, parang anyone could join talaga the discussion. Okay.
Anyone can join, pero it's not like the amount of people who would have joined before has changed from the number of people who could go now.
True.
So hindi naman siya slacktivism. It's the same level of activism. It's
Iba lang
easier
yung
now.
Okay, gets. Okay, next. So, may mga nagsasabi pa na walang mararating ang sining kung walang kasamang dahas o direktang kilos protesta. Sa iyong palagay, may espasyo pa rin ba talaga ang sining at literatura sa pagbabago ng lipunan ngayon?
Para sa akin, and I think for a lot of people, there's always going to be space for arts and literature, lalo na today. Siyempre, may mga kaibigan pa rin ako na involved in arts and literature. I have a lot actually. Some are directing plays like this September in CCP regarding martial law. So plug lang sa sayaw ng mga sayaw ng mga ilaw. So if you have the chance to watch that, I'd recommend it. My friend's directing it. Apart from that, of course, you always engage, just like now, you always engage with college students, you always engage with high school students. For plays, for arts, for podcasts. So there really is a strong fringe theater community here. If we're going to talk about theater, I hope it's going to gain more recognition beyond just of course, everybody knows the international plays and the musicals that come here, but there were a lot of 2025 plays that were super interesting. So Pinkian musical, Upuan, Barboy. So parang marami talagang mga original Filipino plays. So the Filipino art community is really alive and well. It's just a matter of how much we're willing to fund it, how much we're willing to engage in it, and how much the common person is actually interested in that.
So in the way, parang even our government still has a say in it kasi parang funding also comes back to them, like support of theater. So, wala lang, mga random thoughts.
I mean, there's a big reason to support the creative economy, The Philippine creative economy right now accounts for 7.3% of our GDP. And because of that, employment continues to grow, even in the creative economy. In fact, the creative employment in the Philippines is 15.4%. It's not a small number, right? So they're really, may appetite talaga for creativity. Filipinos love the arts. It's just, where do you get this data and how much are we going to advocate for it so that the government continues funding it?
That's true. And parang earlier, I remember you said na you made a play during your college years about martial law. Like, could you expound a bit na lang more on that?
Well, it was just it was a play called Kisakmata, and essentially what we did is we used Filipino folklore, and then we used a Filipino family to kind of like show, it's like a bunch of kids na they were telling stories, and they were these stories about Filipino mythological creatures, but in reality it paralleled the family that was an enabler of the martial law, so like a political accomplice of the Marcoses. So it's quite interesting because you have these, it's like a fusion of the traditional and the contemporary, right? Like you have your old Filipino indigenous literature with your contemporary Filipino political issues. So I think these are the kinds of stories that Filipinos love to tell. They love to reconnect to their past and they love to connect it to their current. So I think that it's definitely a salient issue today.
I find that very interesting because actually, sa natutunan ko during my time in PI, so our group was assigned to really see how Rizal used literature.
Okay.
And he actually used it in a similar way. So, the story of Maria Makiling. So, he had his own version sa La Solidaridad. And he also had medyo the same reason as to why he used that as his means. Kasi naman, alamats di naman uso nun, it was mostly Catholicism is what was mainly in the area. But he chose to use legend, alamat, as his medium because, again, that's what connects us to our traditional roots, to what we were, kumbaga, there's a connection. And he also used it as a way to reflect how the Spanish government was showing at the time. So very similar.
Wow.
So,
Connections.
Parang, so, I guess in that sense, parang the past of the present, you can't really, again, what you said earlier, it's not obscure. Parang art is still really being used in a way to challenge the political landscape or any landscape right now. Parang it's still a way to show a reflection of reality.
Correct. I mean, I think what this reminds me of talaga, one of my favorite movies, Dead Poet Society, yung quote na yun. I'm sure everyone's seen it online. Yung poetry, beauty, romance, love. These are what we stay alive for. And, when it comes to the Filipino identity has always been fractured. It's not like the Philippines would have existed if we didn't get colonized. And that causes a lot of angst in terms of, our identity, how we refer to ourselves. And that's why I think Filipinos have an inherent calling talaga for art. Because they want to connect with that past. They want to understand, who am I without this colonial view? Or am I just this? So, I think that there's so many factors talaga, and there's so much richness within Filipino culture, Filipino history, that I think need to be reflected talaga in art. And we need to give artists that medium, that budget, that means to tell those stories.
Okay, agree. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to the next question. So, paano kaya nito nahihikayat ang mga kabataan na lumipat mula sa simpleng pag-scroll patungo sa totoong action?
Well, iba talaga kapag kabataan. Kasi, in my opinion, especially as a researcher, what I really value is data. I like to ask these questions, like, how do you identify these trends? How do you identify the causal effects? Kung wala ka namang data to back it up. The Philippines doesn't have a very strong publishing culture, so it's very difficult to find data. If you open the Philippine Statistics Authority, good luck actually opening the site, kasi mabagal talaga siya. It's hard to get access to our census data. Our statistics are not particularly accurate all the time. And I think for students especially, yung pinaka-importante talaga is to always question why and always understand the data behind their beliefs. Kumbaga, you can't just believe in something because it tugs at your heartstrings. You need to believe in something because you see the greater trends and you see that reflected both quantitatively and qualitatively. So, for students especially, always seek to publish, always seek to learn. Second, of course, is to stay aware. So help where you're capable of helping. Hindi naman, as a student, it can't be a big thing. Even as one person, it can't be a big thing. You're not expected to be like Mother Teresa or Greta Thunberg. It's really focused on understanding the world before you jump into changing it. So parang learn what you care about and stick to that. So small things, community gardens, fundraisers, volunteering. I think yung maliit na bagay na yun really adds up, and it really helps you understand where you want to build the rest of your life. And that rest of your life will tell the story that you want to tell and will basically funnel those beliefs where you want them to be funneled.
Okay. Sige. So, next. So, pumunta naman tayo sa sarili mong karanasan. So, anong particular na na gawaing pansining ang pinaka-tumagos talaga sa'yo at nang pabago sa pananaw mo sa isang pambansang issue?
Pwede naman libro, di ba?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I like to read a lot. So recently, or not so recently, maybe like 2 years ago when it was published, yung book ni Patricia Evangelista, yung Some People Need Killing. It really affected me when I first read it because this was published after the 2022 elections, after the candidate that I did not want to win won. So there's this quote from the book that really stuck to me. I actually wrote it down so that I could cite it, which is, "Slaughter dressed up in bureaucraties dulls the senses, and over time can anesthetize an entire population to the horror happening where they live. Objective reality is whittled away by each succeeding government report. The dead perish again into non-existence." And, you know, ang naisipan ko talaga is how it's so easy to get jaded. It's so easy to feel nothing when you read the news. It's so easy to think, ay, ito na naman, ganito talaga sa Pilipinas, hindi na yan magbabago. And, like, reading that and writing really made me realize how important it is to stay sensitive. Parang, it's these feelings that are, it's the feeling of sensitivity. That's what art protects, you know. And it's the feeling that really keeps you human. And that's what art keeps pulling you back into. And that's why art, theater, books, all of that is important. Kasi it really pulls you back into what makes you a human. And, you know, you mentioned Rizal before. So it really brought me back to that one. I have a favorite Noli Me Tangere quote. The one about dying. Ano yun? Ako'y mamamatay na hindi man lamang nakita ang maningning ng pagbubukang liwayway sa aking bayan. Kayong makakita, batiin ninyo siya at huwag kalimutan ang mga nalugmok sa dilim ng gabi. And it makes me think, wow, this message talaga that Rizal left us is still something that's relevant today. Na the people who died for our independence wanted to see what we can see now. And we need to stay grateful for that. But at the same time, we need to make that reality that they wanted to see happen as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, lots of thoughts for that.
It's kind of medyo heavy na rin just to think na, oh, that's something Rizal wrote 200 years ago, but it still applies to our current landscape. Alam, papayak ako. I'm actually getting emotional.
Yun nga eh, kasi it's like, yun nga, you can argue na wala namang nagbago. Pero I think when you look back at things like the EDSA People Power Revolution, this is something na if Crisostomo Ibarra or Elias saw it, talagang he will think na, wow, ito talagang gusto ko. Like, this is what I wanted to see in this country.
Kumbaga, we get glimpses of it every so often. Parang it's just a sad reality of our country. Parang yung, we're at that point na, but somehow we keep coming back. Let's say, I had a similar experience nung high school. Nagbasa kami ng Dekada 70. So, it was a story about yung desaparecidos during the time of martial law. And parang it brings you to talaga to a connection. Like, your education in the classroom can only go so far because it's always just mga numbers, mga what happened. But parang reading a book, really connecting with characters and seeing na, oh, this is a reality. And it's not based off something na the human mind just conjured. It's actually based off something that happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then parang during PI, parang we had the chance to attend the forum of individuals who have lost someone from the experience, from, again, desaparecidos, from suddenly disappearing. So, parang it's hard to take in na, it's not just something that's stuck in literature, it's not just a story, but it's really a reflection of not just what's happening in the past, pero of something that's still happening now.
Yun nga. I mean, I agree. That really brings me back to the importance of data. Knowing these numbers, knowing what happened empirically, knowing the facts, helps people create the stories that eventually bring people back to that humanity. So it's like you can't have one without the other talaga.
That's true. Okay. So, siguro last na lang. Can I ask, what's Some People Need Killing mainly about again?
Some People Need Killing is about if you haven't read it yet, it's a book by Patricia Evangelista, and it was published as a kind of montage of her experience covering the drug war. Kasi Rappler journalist siya. So she goes through the entire story, talking to people who lost EJK losses, talks about the stories that went behind that, the political side, the human side of it. And it pulls it back then to the EDSA People Power Revolution, it pulls it back to martial law. Na parang, I was born, kasi she was born, I think, on the day that martial law ended. And parang something that she said, you have to recheck the book for that, but something she said sa intro pa lang is that I was born on the day that democracy started, and now I'll tell you the story of how democracy died. And I think that truly summarizes the thesis of the whole book, na parang you really see how she pulls, and she writes it so beautifully, na parang it's really an art piece, it's really her emotions poured out on the page. And I think that it's like the book really captures not just her thoughts, but also is like a tribute to all of those who were lost in the drug war.
Yeah. So a recommended read.
Recommended read. It's a good book.
Okay. So yeah, okay. Thank you. So, let's move on. So, bago tayo magtapos, after the heavy talks, no?
Sige, shake it off.
Okay, shake it off. Okay, so before para lighter. So, bago tayo magtapos, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng isang laro. Okay, so ito ang tapusin ang pangungusap, okay? Kung saan magbibigay ako ng mga phrases at tatapusin mo ito para makabuo ng isang pangungusap, okay? So, para mas maging lapit sa iyo yung topic, ang mga phrases ay related to together.
Okay.
Oh, yes, okay, director. Okay, so first, nagiging makapangyarihan ang pagtatanghal kapag
tumatagos sa damdamin.
Okay. Ang sining ay naging boses ng lipunan kapag
sumasalamin sa karanasan ng mamamayan.
Okay, agree. So, next, mahalaga ang mga artista ng bayan dahil
sila ang tagapagkwento ng kaloobang Pilipino.
Okay, true. And last, ang isang isyong panlipunan na nais kong isadula ay
korupsyon sa gobyerno.
Okay, agree. Preach. Okay, so ayan, maraming salamat muli, Ms. Tracy, sa pagbabahagi ng iyong mga karanasan at pananaw sa ating podcast. Sigurado akong maraming napulot ng makabulang aral ang ating listeners ngayong araw sa mga napag-usapan natin. So, meron ka bang huling mensahe na gusto mong iwanan para sa kanila?
Just 6 words siguro. Stay awake, stay sensitive, stay hurt. This is what's going to create good art.
Amen. Okay, so again, maraming salamat, Ms. Tracy. Wow. So, makikita nga natin na mahalaga pa rin ang papel ng mga artista ng bayan na sa pagsisilbing salamin ng mga nagpapanahong issue ngayon sa ating lipunan. Tunay ngang kaya pa rin kumonekta at magmulat ng sining kahit anong uri man ng media ang gamitin. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong pagkikinig at pagsama sa episode na ito ng Tinig ng Sining. Ako muli ang inyong host, Mejia, at hanggang sa muling kwentuhan, patuloy-tuloy lumikha at makibaka para sa bayan.
Salamat!
Thank you so much!